Okay, are we ready? Call the Broken Arrow Special City Council meeting to order. Roll call.
Green, Ford,
Here.
Parks, Gillespie,
Here.
Wimpy.
Oh, here. So sorry. I think it's understood. Item 3 is public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognitions, and awards. 3A, presentation and discussion of upcoming citizen bond survey and possible acceptance of the survey and direction to staff to work outside with an outside firm to open the survey in early 2024. Aaron.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilors, Mr. Spurgeon, Aaron McCulloch, Director of Communications for the City of Broken Arrow. It is my pleasure to speak before you on behalf of the Citizen Bond Survey Committee, which of course comprised of yourself, Mayor Wimpy, Councilor Parks, Lori Hill, Aubrey Cease, myself, and Mr. Spurgeon. As you know, we got together approximately 2 months ago, met for the first time, started looking at the possible survey that we'd be putting out to the public early next year, 2024, which it's hard to believe it's just right around the corner now, actually. And what we have before you today is the draft of that survey. Because with this, we do intend to go to the public in 2026 for the next general obligation bond package. We're in that position for a couple of different reasons. One, because of the impressive economic vitality of Broken Arrow as it is today. The conservative budgeting policies and the prudent financial stewardship of the city council and city administration. A wise man once said that if you ask me what time it is, I'll build you a clock. So I'm going to go back in time and we'll rehash how we got here today. So if you recall, back on August 28, 2018, and I should say, actually, let me do one more thing before I get into this. It was actually 6 years ago on this date that the results of the survey for the 2018 bond were actually presented to the council. I don't remember who was actually on council at that time, but at the time it was pretty apropos, if you will.
They say, time flies when you're having fun.
And we've had a lot of fun over the last 6 years. So on August 28, 2018, we went to the voters with a $211 million package, 6 propositions ranging from transportation, public safety, parks and recreation, public facilities, stormwater and drainage. Transportation ate up about $142 million of that. From there were 88 total capital improvement projects, and they overwhelmingly approved that bond with 71%. When you average it out over the 6, each 6 were approved on their own merit. But when you average out the approval, it was around 71%. This was a 10-year series of bond sales, meaning that we were going to be selling those bonds over the next 10 years, and that was planned through 2027. But as we said earlier, as far as our economic vitality is concerned, we've had the opportunity to sell a record amount, in 2022 with $40 million. And then this year, just a few months ago, you all approved the sale of $35 million in bonds. I don't recall exactly how much we have left, but I know that it's put us in position to be done early in 2025, 2 years early. And so that's where we are today. We do anticipate having the election in April of 2026. Mr. Spurgeon has indicated that he believes that the package will be around $300 million, give or take a million here or a million there. We're going to focus once again on public infrastructure and quality of life projects. And the big component of all this is that there is no new tax rate increase with it. So there are 3 different components of the draft survey that we have put together. The first is going to solicit responses from the community on their level of satisfaction with the city services that we provide and just with our community overall, basically their perceptions, how they feel. The second part of it is just your standard demographic household information. We're going to get that data. That's going to allow us to extrapolate all those responses we get and understand who likes what, who wants what, that sort of thing. Really break that down. The third part looks at potential future improvements. We want to get specific on a few things, see what the citizens really want. We shared the draft survey with you. I don't know if you've had a chance to review it or not, but we're not going to go through the entire thing because it is lengthy, but we also feel like that length is really important because there's a lot of really comprehensive items in there for the citizens to review and to go over. But the one thing I did want to do with you The directors, we sent the draft survey to all of the department directors, asking them for their feedback, and they did send in some suggestions. And so what I wanted to do was to go over those questions that they had some feedback on, and just give you the opportunity to review it, get your take, whether or not this is something that we should go ahead and make that change on it before we move on and send it out to the public in January. If you will move over to page 2, we're going to look at question A4. And on this one, if I get over there to it, the question is, please rate how safe or unsafe you feel. There are 5 options. We're going to take a look at the first 2. In your neighborhood during the day, and in BA's downtown commercial areas during the day, excuse me. The suggestion was that we separate downtown and commercial districts, that those are 2 distinct different areas of town. And your feeling may be different in one of those places. So we would like to go ahead and separate those 2. The other suggestion was that we also provide an option for night. We say during the day, but we don't say during the night. So we would like to go ahead and, as we separate those 2 downtown commercial areas, also add in the night component as well.
Question.
Yes,
Can I ask a
ma'am.
Question. Is there a place, because I don't see it, is there a place that we know? I know is this going to be where we don't know who the people are?
That's correct.
Okay, so how do we know what part of the city they live in? Because could that be valuable in knowing like their overall happiness or whatever their feedback is in the about the city? That could be valuable to know based on where they
if they
live.
don't feel safe in their neighborhood, where's your neighborhood? It's
Right.
If Ward 1, 2,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I think that probably would be,
Even if they just say what ward they live in. Of course,
Mhm.
They may
And
not
then we
know
may-
They may
that.
not know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
perhaps
or-
we could add
or
just
south-
a zip
we
code
could maybe do
locator.
it southeast,
thing.
southwest, northeast, northwest.
Speaking of that, is there a way that once they give us something, Aaron, that the survey could populate what parts of town that people came from?
I can
They
certainly
live
look into
responded.
it and see. I think there are a couple of different options that we could go with
Yeah, I
on
think
this.
that's a valuable.
I think it
point
is
that's being
too.
made.
Absolutely. Because that would allow us to dive even deeper into it.
Mhm.
I will tell you that the company that we're looking at using with this, we will have unlimited polling for the next 2 years. And so we will be able to do a deeper dive. So on a question like that, if we're not able to get a question added to it like that, what we can do is we then can go back out and say, a number of you indicated that you didn't feel safe. Can you expand on where it is that you live? And so that could be an opportunity for us to go right back out to the public over the next 24 months.
Okay. You don't get to sit this out. Thank you for joining us.
Counselor Green, I can certainly start over for you if you'd like.
Carry on.
Thank you so much. Moving on to the next one, we're going to stay on page 2. We're looking at A5. And on this one, we ask, please rate the job you feel the Broken Arrow community does at each of the following. There are 4 responses. I'd like to direct your attention to the 4th, and this is the responsiveness of fire and EMS services. The suggestion was to remove this because the question asked how you feel about the community and not how the city actually performs this task. So that suggestion is out there, and we would like to remove that.
Yeah.
Staying on page, let's actually move to page 4 and page 5. We're going to look at question A10. Actually, skip on over to page 5 because that's where we're actually going to be looking at. This one, please rate the quality of each of the following services in Broken Arrow. The suggestion that we received on this one, and you get about 2 guesses as to who submitted this feedback to us. So we have garbage collection in this big group of options. We have recycling and yard waste pickup. Those are not together. We would like to group those together and then create some consistency in identifying those services. Change the verbiage to curbside recycling services, curbside garbage collection, curbside yard waste collection. So that way it's more specific and people aren't getting it confused with perhaps taking it to the Met. And if I go too fast, please slow me down.
But I'm just wondering too, if it may be beneficial to even leave the Met in there somewhere, because we do pay the Met for services. I mean, would that be a way to just see if I mean, we do really good with the Met. Broken Arrow
We
is
do.
like they're number one.
Mhm.
Like we kick it. But I mean, I just don't know if, I mean, clearly we need to separate it from our city services.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know. It may be too confusing if we they may not know what the Met is. They
Well,
may just
most
know
people
the-
that use the Met know it's the Met though.
Yes,
You
sir.
think?
I think I'd agree with that assessment.
So that at least those people could comment on it. You know, if they're making a comment, you know, it's somebody that's actively using it.
I just thought it may be kind of like checks and balance because we do spend money there, like our city
Sure
money,
we
we
do.
do pay
Right.
for that service, just to kind of say we got a good result from,
Right.
the people that do use the Met. I don't know.
Right.
I'll leave that up to you, but just
Okay.
food
That's
for
something
thought.
we will definitely look at. And it could be one of those things that we go back to the public with and during those 24 months
Yeah.
and ask them to expand a little bit. Maybe it's just on some recycling services improvements that you'd like to see and how that relates with the Met.
Let me jump in here real quick. As the committee discussed in 2025, we get the results in March or April, present them to council, council accept the results, and then we look at the policy responses and then the general obligation bond package responses, then start formulating the bond packages and have some discussions during the budget and or further on about the comments we had about policy decisions. We thought we would come back in 2025 with a deeper dive on questions or concerns and maybe ask further clarifications about the bond package questions they have. That's why he keeps talking about 24 months, because we think that as we get closer, because of the large amount of dollars we're going to be asking for, the more information we get and make sure we're going into the public meetings that we have after council decides here is the package, the better it is we would have the more information to make sure we're putting forth the package that's consistent with what the voters are the respondents to the survey are saying.
If we can, we'll move on. Page 8, and we are going to look at question B5. Now we are getting into the demographic household information part of the survey. This question asks, do you rent or own your own home? The suggestion was to provide an option for those adults who are living at home with their parents or for grandparents who are living with their adult children. So that suggestion was made.
Do you rent or own your home, or do you live in the basement with your parents?
Are you a loser?
It's
No.
definitely a thing nowadays.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
Lost, they're called Lost Boys.
Moving on, we will stay on page 8, page 9. We're going to lump together these next 6, B7, B8, B9, B10, B11, B12, because the same suggestion came in for all of these, and that was to provide an opt-out clause. These questions ask for, household income, race, age, gender, that sort of thing, just giving people the option to just opt out of those.
On 10, it's kind of, I was looking at our last time we did a demographics and I'm assuming other is like Hispanics. And why do we never list that? Like our population has grown so much,
We can't.
but we don't ever list them specifically.
Well, I've never understand why it's listed separately because it always is on every.
Yeah, on everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Is it not considered a race?
I could certainly check with the company that we
'Cause
plan
it-
on using and see if we want to
I don't.
combine those
I don't think
two.
we should keep them. I think they should just be in with everybody.
Yeah, I
We should separate
Any
them.
that I've
Understand
filled
that.
out lately, that's been one of the things you could choose from there.
that's right.
And
I'm sure we can.
I've
I
noticed
think I'd
that-
probably still keep others because there are others out there besides what's listed here.
Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
there are.
Right.
Well, and gender too. No.
No.
No, no.
Sorry. That'll be on a postcard.
Okay, I've made that note.
I just made a note.
Moving on to page 10 and C1. These are the questions where we get into the potential improvements, where we get a little bit more specific. You'll notice on this one, the pink text, which indicates that it was incomplete. I now have the number that should go in X, and it's approximately 15.5 miles. And I say approximately because I gave Tim Robbins the option of not going out and counting every decimal point and having an exact number for you. So it is 15.5 miles. On page 11, we're going to look at question C8. And on this one, we look at some specifics as far as parks improvements. And here we listed out 6 different options for the respondent to respond to. One of the suggestions was to add mountain bike trails. Another suggestion was to remove another skate park expansion and remove another splash pad. The reason for the removal is because those are identified already by the community in the master plan of Elam Park as something that they do want. And so that was the reason for the removal there. Renaming community swimming pool to natatorium. Again, this falls back to the master plan of Elam Park and just keeping with the consistency of that branding it a natatorium instead of a community swimming pool.
What's that word you're using?
Natatorium.
Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
define natatorium?
I don't think.
That's one of those
people know what
$5
that
words.
is.
It's above my pay grade, counselor.
I know, so we
I had to
talked
look it up a
about
few months ago.
Community center with the pool.
Yeah, and
So do we expect our citizens to know what that
No.
means on the survey?
no,
If we
I
don't
would
know what
not
it
know.
means ourselves.
If I was not a city councilor, I would
Yeah, I
not know
would
what
not
that
know
was.
either.
I only learned it because I asked whenever we were talking about it.
And
So,
the other thing is that I thought of first off is people might think of an indoor, like they don't know if we mean indoor pool, which is what a natatorium would be, an indoor pool versus another outdoor pool. And I don't know,
Why don't we just say indoor pool?
a new community indoor pool.
Why don't we just say
How about
indoor
that?
pool? Yeah, I agree. What did the school put on their bond issue when they wanted to
Oh,
relocate it? Did
yeah.
they put
I think they did.
natatorium?
I think they did put natatorium.
I think
They
said-
did?
Kind of thinking they did.
I think they
I
did.
didn't vote on it clearly because I was in union, but I kind of feel like I read it and it said that
I don't
natatorium.
remember it.
But that, I mean, we have to do
Saying
it.
that.
We can say indoor pool.
I don't want to put something that people don't answer it because they don't know what it means.
I can understand that. The only thing I would say if we were to use natatorium is if it was like that on the recent bond, just so it was to stay because they went to the voters to ask for that
In
flexibility.
parentheses,
Parentheses.
indoor pool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I would suggest too.
Yeah.
Natatorium and then parentheses indoor
We'll
pool.
educate our citizens as we're doing this. Guess what
Oh,
a
they put
natatorium
aquatic
is?
center.
That's,
They
I was
put
like, I
aquatic-
know it
even
didn't say
different.
natatorium.
Yeah.
Yeah, aquatic center.
That's a more familiar term.
It is.
I'd still put indoor pool.
I'll put indoor.
I mean,
pool. That's what
in
I was
parentheses.
involved.
Like when I hear aquatic center, I think of an indoor facility. Like I think
I
of
do
a
too.
facility,
I do too.
not just.
I mean,
an
you
outdoor
could put in parentheses, and you could put in
slash-
for
Natatorium slash aquatic
for
center
school
slash
use,
indoor pool
competition,
slash
and for
indoor
recreation,
concrete pond.
Yeah.
because that's what it really is. If it's a partnership, it's going to have both competition, swimming, and then for warmer water for splashing.
Matt, what's the normal lingo for in the parks world? Natatorium?
And for the record, ours is a family aquatic center.
Okay. Oh,
So we will.
That's confusing.
Indoor
Oh.
family aquatic center.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to work on that, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we do a communication effort on what natatorium means?
Can we do a
to the-
survey?
We
to
certainly
public?
will. Absolutely.
Before the survey, did you know what an
We certainly will.
Video.
Just so I have it down correctly, we want to change this to aquatic center, in parentheses, indoor pool for school use, recreation, competitive uses.
Yeah, I think we need to be clear.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Okay.
words on one little-
It's a lot of words on one line. It's okay.
So what are we taking off? The new splash pad because it's already approved and a skate park expansion?
Yes, ma'am, that's
Okay.
correct. Skate park
Oh,
expansion
I'm
and
sorry.
splash pad,
It's right in front of me.
because they were
Sorry.
already identified on that master plan as being something that the community did want.
So can people not ride bikes on our trails that we already have?
Ride mountain bikes on the trails that we already have.
Well, mountain bike trails are different from biking trails.
Well, sure.
You can't.
So where are our mountain bike trails at
Where are our
Broken Arrow?
mountains?
Where are our mountains?
Well, you don't necessarily have to have mountains. You just need to have some rugged terrain.
Okay.
I've seen people ride their bikes at Ray Harrell.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ray Harrell would be the most rugged.
We could do a parks education campaign. The areas of town they could ride their
Mountain bikes.
That's right.
You can ride a mountain bike anywhere you want.
Truly.
That's true.
Okay, what's your
You
next
certainly
item?
can.
It works on concrete.
It
just
does.
like-
We've lost control.
They'll still, the wheels will still roll.
Those knobby tires, it may make it a little uncomfortable, but still you can. Absolutely. So would you like us not to add mountain bike trails as an
No.
option for that?
No, it's fine.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna be expensive to make, to build though. If you decide to build it, you gotta have a location.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to have some type of hill, and then you gotta make rough terrain, you know what I mean, around there, so.
Well, isn't that what will be out? What's the place out 71st? Well,
Bluff Landing.
yeah, aren't there going to be
Well,
trails out there? Or
There are
aren't
going to be
there
trails. I
already?
don't remember if there are going to be mountain bike trails. I can't recall.
I don't remember.
I'm kind of confused about adding mountain bike trails because anywhere that we've ever, and I say we as in my husband has ever mountain biked, he doesn't need a trail. Like that's kind of the whole point of it, is that he goes out like where he dirt bikes and
just finds a
rides
spot.
his mountain bike.
And I feel
But
like
I-
if we leave it on here, then we'll have to create something.
Yeah, I'm like,
Like designated for mountain bikes.
I just,
You know?
We're gonna.
do we have a specific place? Maybe we should say that. Like, is there some place we're already thinking of?
The feedback that we received did not indicate a specific
Okay.
location, just something that they thought that,
Just-
that people would be interested in.
Well, I think they would be interested. I'm all for it if we have a place.
For now, we'll leave it in. Okay.
We have to make it.
Or we'll say, you go to
If,
Ray
like
Harrell
everyone
Park.
says it's very important.
we'll have to get a consultant.
We'll throw some more dirt out.
And of course, this is just a survey, just to gauge interest too. So we're not obligated to anything at this point. So we will
They say
shift
we want
gears
to
and move over to page 12 and question number C11. This one asks about public facilities, and it mentions the Veteran Center. It mentions the Senior Center Annex and the Brown Kimbrough Center for Arts and Innovation and Creativity. The feedback we received was to add Arts at 302 as the organization that is housed within the Brown Kimbrough Center for Arts, Innovation, and Creativity. So that you would change that description to read, the Brown Kimbrough Center for Arts, Innovation, and Creativity is the home of arts at 302 and is a creative hub to encourage. We would change it up to that respect. And that actually concludes the director feedback that we have.
I don't know exactly what page it's on. I should have made notes,
Mhm.
but there were it was something about communication, and we lumped our dispatch in with like city hall, like when you call, like how nice are the people type thing. I
Mhm.
kind of feel like we should separate that because when people call city hall, I don't know, it's a different, not demeanor, but like they're asking for things that aren't need to be
I
immediate
agree.
response and all that. And when they call the police or fire or EMS, not IMSA. How many times did you want to change to correct Kim today at the senior center meeting?
Yeah.
Not IMSA. They have to be straight to the point, get me what, and sometimes people think they're being mean. And I don't want to lump in people here at City Hall with the directness that the police have to be, and then they get lower grades. So could we maybe split that out?
I believe you're talking page 5 at the bottom, and that is going to be question A10. Overall customer service by Broken Arrow employees, and then parentheses, police, receptionists, planners, et cetera.
Can
So
we
you
cut-
like separate?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not that our dispatchers are hateful or ugly, but they just like give me right to the point.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't
dealing
have-
in many cases,
Yeah.
emergency type
Yeah,
matters.
They don't have time to
Right.
chit chat.
Yes.
And people, believe me, people say they were so rude, and it's like they needed the information. There was like a house on fire. I mean, anyway, I dealt with those calls when I was at the PD. And so I don't want to.
Well, and I think you have to be a different personality to work dispatch versus answering calls at City Hall.
Yes.
I mean, you
that-
need to be able to
Yeah.
like be that like on task person a little
That's
more.
right. Absolutely.
No, it's a great suggestion. We can certainly do that. In your review of the draft, is there anything that you saw that you would like to speak on? Yes, sir.
So I may have missed this, but how is this going out to the citizens?
Fantastic foreshadowing, sir. I hadn't gotten to that actually yet. So
You did not miss
You did miss that.
we are going to solicit this to our utility customers. The initial thought when we first met was that we were going to reach out to the registered voters. However, there was some concern that not all of our utility customers, those who would be impacted by the survey, by the bond, may not be registered voters. And so we are going to reach out to our utility customers and make it available to them. It'll be a digital only survey, and it will run for about a month, maybe longer if we need to. But we believe that within 1 month, we're going to get the necessary responses that we need that would reflect a good margin of error if you were to get responses from the community as a whole.
And there is a question that asks them if they're a registered voter. So I like the idea that we're doing the water.
Yes, ma'am. We did add that.
Yeah.
So follow up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we send it to the utility person. So if my utility bill's my wife names it, me, I don't get to fill it out?
No,
Or
sir.
That
You,
adult child in the house doesn't get to fill it out, or how's that portion going to
You
work?
need to like our social media because you also have the opportunity to go to our social media and fill it out, right? Or no?
No, that's why I'm asking.
perhaps.
I didn't hear that.
Perhaps.
Well, we got to do that with the Parks Department.
Correct.
Parks
Yep.
Department survey, you got to do that on social media.
So what we'd like to do is to send it to utility customers first, and then you have the opportunity, obviously, to share it with your wife, to your 18-year-old son or daughter. And then if we need to expand it out, we can certainly do that. And that's just to keep it to where it's our utility customers. And those are the ones who are going to be impacted by the survey, who are going to be the ones that are going to vote on the election whenever that time comes due. But there are opportunities for that.
So would that be utility customers? Would that be people on water?
Yes, sir.
bill?
That would be
What if
rough.
you're in the city and you're not on the city of Broken Arrow water?
Yeah, what about Deborah doesn't get
You
to?
don't get to vote.
I mean, I just want
You
to make
lose
sure
out.
we get everybody in the city
vote
if
for
we
you.
can.
We can certainly do that. We can
Or
certainly
if you're in
change
an
that up.
apartment and it's all bills.
I'm sorry, sir.
If you're in an apartment and it's all bills paid, you don't get a water bill.
We can certainly
I'm just
look at
playing
it. No,
devil's
I agree with you.
No, that's
No,
I'm
trying
it's,
to
think
make sure
that's
we
great
get it to the
because-
most
no,
people.
it's
And
very
plus,
good.
if you have two adults even in that, like, I can tell you what Ross's number one thing is going to be is we need, not the timer on the lights. We need it to be censored. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
instead of waiting, and that's not my priority,
Mhm.
but that's sure his priority.
Right.
Like that's probably the only thing he'll mark on this whole survey is that we need to change that. So I think yeah, given the opportunity to let adults in the household,
Yeah,
not
because
just
I
one
mean,
vote, but
I'm going to check that on mail, but my wife is not.
that's true.
I'm
So-
African
I mean,
American,
that's
but she's
good.
not.
That's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
So
No, it's a great
I'm just trying to
suggestion.
Figure out how we're going to get it to the masses.
Absolutely. We will definitely change that up,
Mhm.
and that's a fantastic suggestion. It's ever evolving.
I think the committee did a really good job though. I mean, because you
Yeah,
had a
it's a lot of
lot
good
of good
questions.
stuff on there for sure.
They brought a lot of good stuff to us.
Well, I think that the combination of the letter to the utility customers and the social media blitz about we're asking all citizens to complete the survey. So in your case, Councilmember Green, you've got anybody that's got multiple adults, they could actually fill out the survey. And so I want as many. You look at what is realistic for a community our size. And I think the company working with can tell us that. And I want to make sure we get to that number that says that plus or minus, if double would have responded,
Right.
their responses would have been within that standard deviation of the number we got. And we're
Right.
and if you remember, just a few months ago, we were pushing out the survey and community development. We did a multiple. Hey, we need for you to complete this housing survey. And so we'll be doing that. Aaron's got some plans on how we just continue to remind people because they see it and then they may forget about it. And if we don't remind them, then they won't complete it.
Right.
So, because I'd like to surpass what we had in responses in 2017.
But I do want these just to be Broken Arrow residents. that we're
And they
asking
have
questions
mechanisms in
to.
place to look for ballot stuffers, if you will, and
Mhm.
folks who are outside of the community through IP, through AI. They have different algorithms. They in talking with them, they said, we even have humans who will go through and look at it after it is picked up by all these different mechanisms, which I thought was pretty funny.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am, those things will be applied to this survey.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, just ask all the council members, obviously, to share the information and just encourage everyone to to respond, because it's very important not only to let us know where we can work, where we can be better policy and administrative wise, but also what they'd like to see. The directors have submitted their projects that they would like to have considered, but obviously I won't even present everything to you until I get the voters or the responders of the survey, bring everything together, being able to show the council members, here's what the community said, here's what the director said. And in many cases, they're going to meld together. And I'm excited about some of these other projects that we've listed in here that are going to be up for consideration.
All
Thank
right,
you.
any remarks? City Manager?
No, I would just ask the council members for permission with the suggestions that have been made to approve authorization for us to move forward next steps with distribution of the survey.
When will that be ready for the public?
Aaron?
When will it start? When will that be ready for the public to?
I spoke with the representative of the company that we're planning on using and asked him about his availability over the holidays. And he said that his in-laws actually arrived tonight. And so he's going to be working until they leave. So
Not ever.
I
So
said, are you serious?
He's like, yes.
So I do have the agreement. We just need to change the dates based on this meeting here tonight. I'll get that over to Mr. Spurgeon. And in all likelihood, we should be able to go to the public mid-January, late January.
So we have to do a motion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So I'll make a motion to accept the survey and move forward with the survey work
Second?
that we talked about.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mayor, just one more comment when I can.
You cannot yet. But you can shortly.
Counselor Parks, is yours working?
No.
It says it's disrupted.
Vote.cast is not responding.
Can you do a voice?
Counselor Parks, how would you like to vote? And I'll mark it for you.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, okay.
There you go.
Yes, I'd like to vote. Yes.
There you
Okay.
go.
And it passes.
Just one thing, at the Community Expo, there's going to be a heavy push at the Community Expo to get everyone that is there an opportunity to actually complete the survey and make sure that they're aware of it, which we know there's a large turnout. So that's going to be one of our other mechanisms to try to garner awareness and support to complete it.
And that's coming up on February 9th, right?
February 10th.
10th,
You're close.
Saturday,
February
the 10th.
And if they haven't already filled one out, if they take it back to their communities, we don't want multiple filling out by the same person.
Yes, we're going to have at the expo, there'll be a discussion about the general obligation bond package, just a quick overview as well as the amphitheater. But really, we'd like to make sure those that hadn't understand that we'd love for them to fill it out.
All right. Any further discussion? Entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
All right.
We are adjourned.
All right.
For a moment. We have almost
Wonderful.
an hour. I know.
Curtis,
What do I do with
Mom,
an
shows a
hour? You'll
motion.
finish your food.
on it.
Santa's
Didn't
at
come up.
Farmer's Market, or someone's at Farmer's Market. I just got to.
Yes,